Even though the coaching carousel is stealing all the headlines and Liam Cohen stealing all the money and jobs out there, we got ourselves another DFS slate this weekend, 2 conference championship games. Of course, we're going to do what we always do here to find the must plays. We're going to look at projections. We're going to look at ownership. We're looking at option lines, so the solver, see what DTR thinks about things. Those brilliant boys, those beautiful minds over there is what we're going to see their takes. Of course, we're going to see the sim lineups on Stochastic as well. And by the end of this video, you'll know the must plays, at least as of Friday. Let's get into it here. We have Pete Carroll, hired by the Raiders. Liam Cohen, the drama around him. Catch him if you can. He is now going to the Jaguars. Going to save Trevor Lawrence's career. Paid a lot of money to get him. Big profile about what happened with the, I think it was, I don't know if it's Sports Illustrated anymore, but Albert Breer's column talked about it. They had to kind of sneak around to fulfill the Rooney Rule stuff with the they didn't hire the guy, but had to interview the Raiders defensive coordinator a second time. And I guess Robert Saleh counts as a minority. So I don't know, but barely he does. So that's what they had to do to kind of why they had some cloak and dagger besides the Trent Baalke firing and all that stuff. The weird situations going on in the NFL coaching stuff, but lots to talk about heading into the big board. And certainly I would say with Liam Cohen getting hired for Jacksonville, wheels up for Brian Thomas, wheels up for the Brian Thomas, Trevor Lawrence stack. I think you got to go that way a lot now. You need much more to save T-Law. Well, I don't know if that's true. I would disagree. Liam Cohen was somebody I was not wowed by looking at how Kentucky performed last year. I kind of thumbed my nose at him a little bit, and he kicked ass, and he ran one of the best offenses in football. So I would strongly believe he's going to do a good job riding that ship as best he can. Though, he could be certainly a guy, could be a Todd Haley type where the offensive coordinator, sometimes a genius in that position, moves to head coach, and then they can't run an org as well. Some maybe not great leadership shown with his process there, but fucking man, he got the bag. So I'm not going to ever be mad at that. You got to play the game to win, and he played the game and won it. So more power to him. One of the highest paid guys in a while. Either way, though, this slate's a big one. So you have 2 conference title games. I do have a prop column out at Fantasy Points, which I haven't tweeted out yet, but check it out for yourself. If you want to go on the Fantasy Points homepage, you should be able to find it pretty easily. Only 2 games here. The biggest takes for me, not going to be a big surprise. I'm going to ride or die with our boy one more time. There is a chance for real history here. This would be the 3rd time, potentially, if the Commanders were to pull an upset. The 6th seed has advanced over 3 top seeds throughout their quest to get to the Super Bowl. It'd also be the 3rd time a 6th seed has made it to the Super Bowl. So I am going to be Team Jaden here. I will present that bias up top so you can decide accordingly what you want to do in the slate. Of course, I will approach everything earnestly as I always do, but I'm rooting for the Commanders. I realized over the course of last weekend, I said it on stream as well, I've basically become like an actual Commanders fan. I've gambled now so much on Jade Daniels from the moment 2024 began with the big board drafts and all of that to throughout the year to talk about him, where I now am just fully Jaden pilled, and I want to see this team win. I want to see them go all the way, do something nobody's ever done before. So that's where I am with all of that. But, oh, wow. Taylor Rapp out for Buffalo. No. Come on. I don't have anything terrible to say for my member chat this month. Thank you, Robert Griffin III. Point being, though, is I am very strongly on favor of Jaden. I also do have a Jaden team in the Mitten, too. So shout out to our Commanders guys in the Mitten right now. Jaden Daniels everywhere. That's how Adam feels about the Chargers. I get it. Except that, Chargers aren't playing anymore. So Jaden Daniels, he's going to be my big take here. That said, projections, let's get into them. Saquon Barkley, I mentioned last week, I had a really hard time considering fading him. I think that is the case once again here. His markets for prop bets on rushing yards are outlandish. 128.5 is where it's settled at. I think Underdog opened at like 130 or some shit. You're getting such bad EV on like his anytime touchdown as well. His anytime touchdown was minus 250, I believe. Would still say overall in the spot, Saquon's your best play. I mean, that's really it. I really have no issue fading him. I have no issue, trying to do something unique here, but like he is just the best play on the slate. Washington's defense, not very good, as we talked about, the course of the season. They do present a little bit better to some people out there, but still only a negative 0.01 EPA throughout the entire regular season. So you're talking about the barest minimum of technically above average. And I can tell you haven't watched a lot of Commanders games. I really have watched almost every minute of every Commanders game this year. The Jade ones where he got hurt, I probably close my eyes a little bit more during. Besides that, like I've watched this team a lot. They're not good at anything. They're not good in the secondary, really. They create some pressure up top. They'll muddy up a pocket a little bit, which could be tough for Jalen Hurts, I think. But even that, I'm not really worried about it. Team total 26.8 for Philadelphia. You expect that to include, a healthy amount of Saquon Barkley. Commanders this week, I've talked about, I think Bobby Wagner had a quote like, we just got to be disciplined. We'll be able to stop him. No, you're not going to be able to stop Saquon. The blocking's too good. He himself as a talent is, kind of whatever. 12% avoided tackle rate. He's obviously making the most of the opportunity. But, to be as good as he is with this volume, he is still a plus EPA rusher, which is hard to do at that level of volume with a 0.09 EPA per rush over the course of the entire regular season. Point being is like, it's just a really good situation with what the Eagles have for him. Don't fade him now. I think you play him a lot at 8,600, and he should really be the first thing you put in a lineup, I think, in most lineups overall. So Saquon, even though he's not my guy, he is clearly a strong play again. And much like I said, don't leave him out of your lineups last week. He's the best play in the slate. Don't leave him out of your lineups this week. He's probably the best play in the slate. Somewhere that Saquon meat writer is smiling here and he says, no, because like, I'm not saying it enough. Like, it's a fucking joke. He's going to the MVP stuff. Like he's top 5. Jared Goff, I guess. That's what the lines are. Jaden should be going top 5 for the MVP thing. They just had to put a running back in there and they're trying to show like, oh, look, running backs are still fuck off, man. Anyway, for Saquon, yeah, he's a great DFS play. That hasn't changed, but he's a great DFS play now because there's only 4 RBs on the slate, really. Your number 2 projected player, and it's a huge gap here. Saquon's at 26.9, Josh Allen's at 22.5. 4-point difference in change for Josh Allen at number 2. Josh Allen to be decently on at 7,500. Baker, it's hard for this stuff because like you're the number 1 seed. I get it. I see the Baker thing a little bit. But yeah, I think Goff had to get to the MVP ceremony. I don't know. It's so stupid to go for that though for the NFL honors because like they do a show for that, right? And you have to go and sit in a crowd now. If you have to go and sit in a crowd and you're Jared Goff and you're there for MVP voting and you just fucking blew the game that was the most important for your team, you're one shot at your city to win a championship that like has embraced you and given you another shot at life, and you have to go and sit there and go like, I guess I might be MVP. No, Jared Goff, you're not. Anyway, Josh Allen at number 2, possibly an MVP, though it looks like it's Lamar at this point. Got to get him a lot here. The issue with Josh Allen is the same as always. He is not easy to stack up. Khalil Shakir is going to be your top option, but Keon Coleman going to be as valid in some spots. You're going to have certainly games where in Amari Cooper, you'd expect to do something at some point. He has been fundamentally useless basically this entire year as a Bill, but it is playoff time. It's kind of what you got him for. You still have Kincaid there. You still have Knox playing enough snaps. You have Curtis Samuel playing some snaps. You probably don't want to stack him. You have Matt Collins playing some snaps. You probably don't want to stack him. For Allen, that's the tough part here for tournament that, in general, you're not going to win a tournament playing a naked QB at this point. Like the parlay is too hard to get. Your 150 max is going to hit every combo. So I think Josh Allen comes with real risk. You have to stack him no matter what you do. If you're going to play Josh Allen, I would try to get creative with it. Don't just play him with Shakir. That's what everybody's going to do. But Shakir's your best play. Add another receiver on top of that. But Allen is going to, I think, be in a lot of lineups this week, and it just never works out as cleanly as it should. Unless he puts up 45, then maybe it matters less. But even then, still somebody's going to have him stack with the right guy, and that's going to be a thing that wins a tournament if he does win a tournament. Jay Daniels, just shy of 22 fantasy points. We're talking about half a point less than Josh Allen. Still good. 5 points behind Saquon Barkley as well. Jaden, look, the bet at 7K, I think feels pretty good. He is your second highest priced QB, though. Mahomes is cheaper. Jalen Hurts is cheaper. I certainly could get playing other QBs. I'll play a good amount of Jaden. The natural stack partners are there with him with McLaurin. You have Ertz. You still have Diami Brown being really the number 2 receiver this entire playoff run. In my fantasy points column, I wrote up basically the first 3 targets in the playoffs. Austin Eckler's actually gotten a lot. He's kind of an interesting guy, I think, to pair with Jaden in some amount of lineups. But obviously, Diami Brown's had a really good playoff run. You still have Zacchaeus out there getting enough work that he could definitely be a guy that throws a wrench in the stack a little bit. But I would say for Jaden Daniels, like you have McLaurin, you have Ertz, you have a really obvious stack that if he's going to hit his upside, he's going to get you 300 plus receiving yards, 3 passing touchdowns. You probably have 1 for McLaurin in there at the very least. You probably have 1 for Ertz in there. It's going to how it's normally going to go. So Jaden, I like more. I mean, look, I like him more than Josh Allen in many ways. But I would say the stacking easiness makes him a little bit easier for me to go to and to play that upset, or at least to being competitive and going down with the ship I think I'm going to have a lot of Jaden Stacks. I mean, look, I'm obviously going to have a lot of Jaden Stacks this week. I don't know why I have to do the song and dance. Like, I try to be like somewhat impartial here because that's the whole point of the show is like I use different products here. I'm not really beholden to anybody besides just you guys and trying to give you good info. And there's no world where I can go like, oh, I'm not going to jam a shitload of Jaden. Like, I'm going to jam a shitload of Jaden no matter what. You got to play some other guys too. But Jaden to me, I think has the logic. I think playing from behind as well. And look, for really the narrative thing, DVP, as we talk about a lot here, the defense versus position stuff, even things like how a guy played against the team before, you really tried to not account for that. There's really like an underlying narrative for the Washington stuff as well this year where they got their ass kicked by the Eagles the first time. Second time, Jaden figured out the defense, lit him up, but they also had Jalen Hurts not there on the other side because that was the game he got concussed early on. Now in round 3 here, I think you're getting like the full blow for blow. These guys going for it on both sides. So I think Philly Washington has a better shot of shooting out. Well, that's not fair. Both games have a shot of shooting out, but I think there's a more likely chance that you see Buffalo KC play more defensively than you do seeing Philadelphia Washington play under the total and not have an aggressive offensive output. That's my guess, though, based on how the second game went, where Jaden fully figured that team out. I don't know that there's enough on tape that you're going to be able to solve Jaden from what they saw in week 15 or whatever it was, week 16, compared to now. So I'll defend Jaden to the death, and this might be the death. So there we go. I'll be interested to see if Washington pass game plus Saquon's highly owned, showing up the top EV lineups. We'll see. We'll see in a moment. Patrick Mahomes at number 4, so you're getting a lot of QBs up top. Mahomes 21.5 projection, as we talked about and we saw last week. Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, just a different player. People want Patrick Mahomes to be in the regular season the same guy that he is in the playoffs. He's not. They just keep him bubble wrapped the entire year. He gets rid of the ball really fast. That's it. He's still trying to do that in the playoffs, but he has more ability, more willingness to move around the pocket. He's also doing the full flag hunting bullshit, which certainly helps keep drives alive. Mahomes at 6K, I think a reasonable play going against a Buffalo defense. And, Taylor Rapp's out. I mean, look, I appreciate Justin caring about that stuff. It doesn't really matter to me. But, really the main thing I would say for Casey going against Buffalo's defense on paper, somehow, relative to the entire season production, worse than the Commanders overall, giving up a 0.05 EPA per dropback, 0.05 EPA per pass. The Commanders are giving up 0.02 per dropback, 0.02 per pass. So, even though I don't really think much of the Commanders D, if you ask me to really, rank these defenses one by one, I would say Washington, Buffalo. I don't know that I'd put Washington behind Buffalo, but Buffalo performed less well throughout the entire year. They've quietly been a team that I think people think is a good defense, and they got okay results versus Lamar, but I don't know that was really the Buffalo defense doing it. I kind of think Lamar and the team itself shot themselves in the foot more than enough times in that game. I think Mahomes should win the game, first of all. I also think that Mahomes should get good passing production en route to winning the game. So him in a 6K salary, he's not as fun as a Jaden to me. I don't think it's as fun as Josh Allen. But you're getting leverage on Allen, who's going to be pretty decently owned. And Mahomes is just not the guy that's going to be in projection sets because he doesn't play the same way when he gets to the playoffs. So I think Mahomes is a logical player to go to today, or go to this weekend, rather. Travis Kelce stacked with him. Kelce, again, the exact same thing. Routes were up. He had the most yards he had in a game this entire year in the divisional round. So that's what you're getting from Kelce as well. The Chiefs, it's like, I talked about it all summer long, and I don't think people didn't believe it based on the ADPs, but the Chiefs are not a team. They're kind of like the old NBA teams, like the Lakers, whatever, where it's like, we're playing for the playoffs. We're not playing for the regular season. That's basically where they are. They just win a shitload of regular season games along the way because the organization's brilliantly run and everybody's good at what they do, and the coaching staff and the players overall on both sides of the ball. And now you're in the playoffs, and it's like you're playing really good teams, and these are must-win spots, so they're going full go. So, you get Kelce playing more routes, getting targeted more. He's your alpha target earner. So an 18.8 projection for him. I feel like this is one that fully accounts for him having a better playoff role. You have a few guys in the wide receiver core that got nothing going last week. Maybe they try to feed them the ball a little bit more. Your Hollywood Brown in particular, I think is going to be a good matchup against a Buffalo team that can't defend well downfield. And apparently they're missing a safety now too. To giving up a 0.3 EPA on deep throws this entire year, giving up an 11% touchdown rate on throws to 20-plus air yards. It's a soft matchup for the other receivers potentially on KC, but Kelce is the safety blankie. Kelsey's the guy who's going to be there. I'm getting targeted the most. So him at 6K, they got to try to find a way to pay him or play him and pay him. Jalen Hurts, 6,500, much lower than the other QBs. He'll probably be your least owned QB by a pretty decent margin. His projection is 4 fantasy points lower than Mahomes. 4 and change lower than Jaden, about 5 lower than Josh Allen. So Jalen Hurts, it's a lot of disrespect for Jalen Hurts. He has not been good Jalen Hurts this year. But I think you got to get some Jalen Hurts. Like, I really like the non-Josh Allen QBs this week. And Josh Allen, biggest upside, I get it. But he really hasn't put it down in the playoffs yet. That certainly could mean he's due to do it. I would favor the other 3 QBs relative to this. I think that's basically it. Saquon over double the projection of the next RB Wild. That's true. Last year, Chiefs Bills is 27-24 for what it's worth. I don't know. Sure. I mean, that's about what the spread is this year. I mean, this year it's 25 implied points for KC, 23.5 for Buffalo, which is a little bit under. I would say it's about the outcome I'd expect it to be at. I don't think you're getting like 35 here. With Commanders Philly, even though the Philadelphia line is only 20.8 implied points, Philadelphia 26.8, I think you got a much better shot of like 35-38 there, 42-35 in that game. But that's my guess. Other guys to highlight here based on value. And we're dilly-dallying a little bit here, guys. Probably taking longer on these segments than I usually do, but it's a 2-game slate. So, and we got, coaching carousel stuff I think is fun to talk about. But obviously we'll have all year to talk about that. Patrick Mahomes, 3.6x value. He'll be a top QB coming up. Jaden Daniels, 7K salary, 3.1x value. He'll come up a good amount as well if I had to guess based on the optimizers. Travis Kelce, an 18.8 projection. He is technically a top value. Saquon, despite being 8,600, he's a 3.1x value as well. So there's no true value on the slate. Your best value are just some of the guys you should play. If I were making a lineup and I was like, I had to either play the guys fully or fade them, I'd probably want to play Travis Kelce and Saquon in every lineup. And that's what you're getting here. So that's man, these guys are going to be completely impossible to avoid. Josh Allen at number 5, slightly less good value for him at 7,500. Jalen Hurts. Then you have Kincaid, Shakir. Just nobody who's even remotely cheap looks good. I guess Kincaid would be it at 3,600. And we know the Kincaid thing at this point. This is not the Liam Murphy channel, so you're not going to hear the most rosy outcome for him possible. I loved Kincaid in college. He has not lived up to any of the hype this year that he should have in a year 2 guy. Let's go to the ownership now. Let's see what we get. Worth pointing out as well with stochastic data. First of all, you can get all of it for yourself. 15, whatever percent off. Yeah, 15% off. Promo code down below. Promo code SPLASH, link down below rather. For all of Stochastic's data and tools, check it out. Even if you only want to get a weekly package to get yourself through this week at the Super Bowl, do it. Really, you are playing from behind if you're not using data at the very least, let alone Sims tools, let alone the single lineup Sim tool. Just use something for yourself so you don't get fucking smoked. If you're wondering why you get your ass kicked in DFS every week, that's probably a big part of why. Second part of it, Excel being a bitch. Excel is always user error, I would say. It's never Excel's fault. Your ownership, is this fucking real? 98% Saquon Barkley? Even for a 2-game slate, that's ridiculous. And this is correct this week. This is the 2-game slate. That can't be what the field actually plays. Like, there's no way they're going to play actually 98%. I would play 98%. I have no problem with it. That's a stupid ownership number. You don't get that very often. Even in NBA DFS, like today is a 3-game slate for NBA. If you had somebody like get LaMelo out and there's like a 3K point guard who fills in and is like really good, that guy wouldn't be 98% owned in NBA DFS. And they'll play chalk like crazy. For Saquon, here is it. So look, I hate to say it because I think Saquon's a smash play. The way you make your money this week is not playing Saquon and hitting a James Cook outlier day. Pacheco is not even involved. Hunt is still getting enough touchdowns. Eckler, yeah, maybe Eckler, Brian Robinson in this spot. Because the thing is, like, when you see this much Saquon ownership, it's like, how do you even possibly get away from Saquon? It would be you play Jalen Hurts, hope he tush pushes some. A.J. Brown is a great man defense matchup. Washington plays the most man defense of everybody left in the playoffs, and also they were like basically number 3 in the league by the entire season. You play that. I think you play the pass game. You hope that you get A.J. Brown touchdowns, maybe Devontae Smith touchdowns, Jalen Hurts touchdowns. I think it's still more likely than not Saquon's in a lineup, but it is probably not 98% likely would be my guess. So look, for me, I would love to have a reason to shit on Saquon here. He's that good of a play, but man, anything 98% owned in DFS, like you kind of owe it to yourself to get that down to 75, I think, and just eat 25% losses just so you can get a different look in a few lineups. But man, that's crazy. Travis Kelce, 70% ownership. Again, that's a lot of ownership, but that's fair. If I had to guess, Saquon ends up closer to like 85 because people still try to play something different. And 85, like, cool, play 85. I think that's fair. 98% owned is too much. Kelce at 70, you're pushing it too, but tight end is not very good. Dallas Goedert's also hurt. I assume he'll find a way to play, but he's had, I believe, an ankle injury. Actually kept him out of practice yesterday, so that's something to watch out for him. If you don't have Goddard in, you're talking Ertz, who I think is okay. Ertz has been giving some flowery talk about the team this year, how they saved his love for football and sucking off Jaden and shit, which he should. He wants to get more money out of the team. You have pivot points for Kelce as well, but they're not as good. And again, playoff Kelce is playoff Kelce. So, and I'm sure Taylor Swift will be in attendance as well. So Travis Kelce, 70% ownership. Hard to argue it. Khalil Shakir at 51. That's where you could start to argue things a little bit. I like Shakir as a PPR guy. Still think there are ways that he's not the receiver that hits from Buffalo. The matchup for him going against KC, he would benefit if it is zone dominant. And I mean, he's going to see zone 49% of the time, still seeing man 33%. Khalil Shakir has a hard time getting open versus man with only a 16% target rate during the regular season versus man defense. Still efficient when he gets targets, but with a 0.78 EPA there. But the ability to earn targets is a little bit tougher for him. Yeah, it's a lot of Shakir. It's a lot of Shakir. I like the price tag at 5,700, but you have Worthy at 55. Not a big ownership discount here. I don't think I'm married to Shakir like I am to Saquon and Travis Kelce. Those guys, to me, seem like must-haves. Shakir seems like I'll get some. Terry McLaurin, 49%. You're not going to get any argument from me about that. I think he's your concentrated target there. Certainly for Philadelphia, they're going to try to stop McLaurin. And to McLaurin's discredit, if he didn't break that one catch-and-run touchdown for 50 yards last week, he would not have had a usable enough day. So for McLaurin, I think he still gets fed well as your alpha target, but if you want to try to move away from him in some lineups, I would certainly get it. I think that ownership is pretty responsible at 49%, even though for me, I'll probably have higher. Xavier Worthy, he's an okay player at this point. Feels like his role is a little bit more secure. I do think the idea of trying to feed Marquise Brown pulls from Worthy a little bit more. And I would say, I think his role is easier to kind of fuck with than Travis Kelce's is, where Kelce's going to do whatever he does, no matter what, I believe. Worthy, if you see more targets go Brown's way, and he's talked about the idea that he'd never catch in round one, felt like he played better than that with what he put on tape. A little bit of a squeaky wheel thing for him. I think he is a guy that could pull from Worthy a little bit. And also the fact that Hollywood busted as pretty big chalk last week. I think that's your logic in why you don't play Worthy and do play Hollywood. But I have no issue with Worthy as a play. I'm not into him like a Davis Matic is. Patrick Mahomes, 41%. It's a lot of ownership for him. Higher owned, so he'll be your highest owned QB based on this? Okay. I don't know that I love Mahomes as your highest owned QB. I don't mind it in the spot. I'm not really a big believer in the Buffalo secondary, but that's a lot of Mahomes. A lot of Eagles D as well, 40%. Jaden can take sacks, but as I've said before, he's still mostly a clean passer, doesn't have colossal fuck-ups that much. I don't love Eagles D. If I were to play a defense at this point, just based on how the QBs are running and how the defense does, I'd probably take a shot at the Commanders and Jalen Hurts messing up at some point during this game. But look, I'll take any defense I get. I would just be mindful of that's a lot of ownership for a defense that I don't think it's in a great spot. They'll get sacks against Jaden. I'm pretty sure about that. But I don't know that they get a pick six would be, my concern. A.J. Brown at 38%, have to highlight him. Washington plays a lot of man defense, as we've always talked about. A.J. Brown is a man defense destroyer that hasn't changed in the numbers for several years in a row now. This year, 39% target rate versus man defense, 5 just about yards per out run, 0.67 EPA per target on man defense stuff. And, for everybody else in the team, they're not anywhere near that. A.J. Brown, who has a squeaky wheel narrative going as well, has talked about the fact that he hasn't gotten targeted. He's basically had less than 5 catches in the first 2 games, maybe even less than that. I think it might be 3. He's been really bad so far. Squeaky wheel is going there as he talked about it to the media. I would say he's a guy at 38%, or he should be owned at least that much, maybe not more, but that's that. No, I don't know. It's a Jaden team with Cook. It's not very good, but it's available. We're talking about other stuff. I appreciate you asking it. I don't really care that much. It's not going to win it all. I don't think so. If it gets through this week, we'll talk about it on stream. But it's not really. I do streams about the stuff. We're out to DFS. But yeah, I get why you'd ask. I guess I don't know. Maybe if we have time, I'll look it up. I just know why people care. Is really, I guess, my point of it. But you care, so I appreciate it. Lesser owned guys here. The reason I'm like weird about it, I saw people doing like their reveal videos of their pod. No respect to our guy Neil or Liam or whatever, like spending an hour talking about why? Like, do people care about that much? I find it hard to believe. I know I move the target around. I do other stuff that people don't care about, like my rookie previews. But like it's odd that people are like this much into the sweat. It's like I don't know. Playoff basketball is just a fucking slot machine, I think. DeAndre Hopkins under 10% owned. He is a player I'm rooting for on that unfortunate Mitten team. Jalen Hurts under 10%. That's Adam because it's not you, and he asked nicely. But I'm more just baffled by it. Like I don't know. There was a culture of the stuff too, like the dog bowl stuff too. I'm not into those streets. People are really obsessed with that stuff, you know, in terms of wanting more content about it. There's some things I just have a blind spot to that just don't really interest me that much, but I get it. Matt Collins low own, Noah Gray low own. Noah Gray at this point, I think you're getting direct leverage on Kelsey, but he's just not going to be as involved for Kelsey. Amari Cooper low owned. I do think that stands out when you have a 50% owned. Khalil Shakir, though Amari Cooper does suck. Ty Johnson, we got our guy Chunk rooting for a Ty Johnson 40 burger. 4% owned for Curtis Samuel. These guys certainly could spike, but it's hard to play them in any volume because the projection is going to be dog shit. Ray Davis got that touchdown last week. I don't even know why, but he's out here at 1%. Really not a lot of appealing low-owned guys. Calcaterra, who's down here, he'd be one to watch if Goddard is out at 2,500. He'd probably become your lone value play on the slate. It would get over-owned as a result. Certainly nowhere near the category of a Travis Kelce level play, but he is still one that, I don't know, that would be probably really highly valued out of slate where there is no value. And everybody else here, you can see it on the screen. Zach Ertz, 20%. Robinson at 15. Your guys who either pair with Jaden Daniels well or get leverage theoretically on Saquon Barkley for Robinson. Eckler's got to be. Eckler's higher owned than Robinson, huh? Robinson had the big box score day, but Eckler going to be 26% to Robinson's 15. Those guys should be flatter. Eckler definitely going to benefit if the Commanders are playing from behind. Robinson going to benefit if the Commanders are playing from ahead somehow, which follow your heart and how you want to approach that. I'd say try to play both sides of it a little bit. James Cook, 35% for him. He could certainly spike a big day out of nowhere. Where's Pacheco at? Pacheco at 14. The workload for him shifting away, not in a good way. Hunt at 14 too. This is probably wins the tournament. One of Hunt or Pacheco. If you get that right, I think that's going to be it. B-Rob gets just as many looks in the pass game as the sneaky part about those two. Not in the playoffs so far. Eckler's been the second highest first read guy, which I think I was saying and then kind of changed topics. But he's been the second most targeted guy in terms of first read looks. Robinson's also been running less routes and targeted less on first reads. Like Eckler is absolutely your guy. I know that like the count is going to look similar, and it does throughout the course of the entire regular season, where it's been even that, not really. Eckler's had 3.4 targets a game to Robinson's 1.8. Like Robinson gets some targets, but like Eckler gets more. Eckler absolutely gets more. Anyway, that's the ownership. It's tightly owned. We'll see what the various lineups give us, because I frankly am not seeing a real edge at this point with the ownership besides ones I don't want to play. Like I want to play Kelsey. I want to play Saquon. And if they're going to be owned out the ass, you got to really start thinking about not playing those guys. Let's go to ETR next. And let's see here, of course, Solver data. Well, Solver is a tool. ETR is the data, of course, pumped in. Check it out for yourself. Both two great tools. Solver, link in the description down below. Obviously, Stochastic and the Solver, different strengths, different weaknesses. We talk about a lot here. Solver is an optimizer combined with a Sims tool, so that's sort of the key difference there. And in particular, I think it's a great tool to build your cash game lineups with. So that's what we're going to do first. Real fast, we'll look at the projections here, see if ETR has any meaningful differences to Stochastic. They have Saquon Barkley, number one by about 3 fantasy points, so a little bit less of a gap than Stochastic has, but pretty close. Jaden Daniels, Josh Allen, same order there. James Cook, no, that's not right. Mahomes at number 3. Jalen Hurts at number 4. Kelsey, they have much lower. Stochastic had Kelsey at what? 18.9 and your number 5 overall guy. They have him at 16.2 and behind Jalen Hurts, so probably get a little bit less Kelsey with ETR data. AJ Brown a little bit higher here. That's that. Highest owned guys, they think Saquon only gets to 75% for a large field. So Stochastic thinks that he will be unavoidable. ETR thinks people will play logically. I think it's more in the middle. As I said, I think it's 85% would be where the field lands, which I think is totally fair. 97% impossible. But the fact that Stochastic is getting projected like that, and it is not me saying some insider thing that I know. It's my guess based on looking at their data for now. God, fucking 7 years. It's a lot of time looking at ownership projections from one company and working with them as well. If I had to guess, that 97% ownership is what Stochastic in that first run, like what their data believes you should be playing Saquon at. So it's a lot of Saquon projected right now, but 85% be more likely to be the Fields number. Cash game lineups right now. You got Mahomes, Saquon, Austin Eckler, AJ Brown, Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, Zach Ertz, Travis Kelce, Eagles D. So you're naturally getting these guys stacked up. I have no stack boosts on right now. We'll put them on to build some lineups, assuming that ETR has their sim done. Oh, wait, no. All right, wait, hold on. I want to see if they have their sim stuff ready. Okay, so they have ETR sim stuff ready, so we'll run a sim as well. But yeah, right now, your core cash game lineup is a Mahomes triple stack. So basically what this tells you is that the field's naturally going to be getting Mahomes stacks more. You almost want to play lesser. You either have to play more Mahomes stack partners, but that doesn't make sense because you're getting Worthy, Brown, and Kelce naturally anyway. I guess you could swap in a DeAndre Hopkins, and that's your way to get unique. But basically, the field's going to be attacking Mahomes stacks more than they realize because the projections are going to drive them to it. So you're getting Mahomes stacked up. You're getting Saquon and A.J. Brown together, so you're getting the best parts of the Eagles. You're playing the Commanders being competitive. You're not getting a lot of Bill stuff with ETR's core data here. But you are going to naturally get a lot of the pass game for KC. Travis Kelce's in 100% of the top 25 lineups. Barkley's at 100%. Not a surprise based on the ownership we saw. 100% Xavier Worthy. That's a little bit of a surprise to me. So right away, at least with ETR data, same thing for Showdown here. It's a 2-game slate, so similar principles. If you take out Kelce, you take out Saquon, and I guess you take out Worthy, or at least one of the three, 2 out of the 3, you're going to be getting a different from a lot of the field right away because you're going to naturally play these guys. If I had to guess, Worthy is the one that probably wouldn't be in every lineup, but like it is legit a thing where if you don't play Kelce, you don't play Saquon, or if every lineup you played just split Kelce from Saquon, it's an aggressive stand to do, but it has worked for me in the past. That's how I won a 25K in one showdown. Was just splitting away like 2 players on a slate that were going to be together in every lineup was my guess in a showdown. In that case, it was Burrow and Higgins. Here, it's Kelce and Saquon are just going to be in every lineup. So play one of them is one way to get unique. They're 2 of the best plays in the slate, but just be mindful if you have both of them in your lineup, and if you also have a Mahomes stack with it, you are very likely to get duped at that point. Player stacks, you're getting Saquon, AJ Brown, and Eagles in almost half the lineups. You're getting Mahomes, Worthy, Hollywood, and Kelce in a third of lineups. You're getting Saquon and AJ Brown together with just them in a quarter of lineups. So some trends to note there. Nothing else that crazy here in the game stacks. I guess almost 10% of the time you're getting Mahomes, Worthy, Brown, Kelce with a Kincaid bring back. It's a double tight end. But really, the Mahomes stacking is the main thing I would highlight. Let's put on our settings here, give boosts to the stacks. And let's also let's put 2 unique players in this one so we can hopefully get some mix here. 250 lineups. You can build up to 500 in a batch with ETR and the solver, but I build 250 here for the sake of making it slightly faster. And guys, if you appreciate this content, again, where I'm really one of very few shows, I guess there's more now, but in general, in the past few years, I'm one of very few shows that goes the entire year long, obviously from January on, doing our big board prep and all that, which is still going on. Check out the rookie previews, but I do DFS. I keep going to the Super Bowl, covering these DFS slates, same way we have with our must-play video on Friday, Final Takes video Sunday morning. That'll continue on here. In fact, the wife's out of town. My mother-in-law's coming over on Sunday morning to watch Luca so I can do the Final Takes video. So that is my commitment here to you guys. So please show that love back. Hit the like button, subscribe, join down below if you want access to my data and a VIP Discord for $4.99. So that's the big stuff to sell here for you guys. Check out the sponsors as well. Underdog, $1,000 of bonus cash. They need to get back to me about my affiliate deal. This needs to come up soon. 15% off Stochastic. Link in the description as well for them. Promo code SPLASH. Check that one out. Great to support the show. Half the money that you would pay to Stochastic comes to me. So helps me keep doing what I'm doing here every day. Unabated, $30 off. Promo code SPLASH. They've been a great partner in the NBA channel and will continue to be. And the solver. You're seeing on screen right now as we build our 250 lineups sitting out. You get that for yourself too. And let's do some little simmy sims. We will put this one into what is the best tournament? We'll have the most entries, but properly represent the field here. Probably the slant, I guess. A lot more entries than the fair catch. I hate that I have to do this like guesswork with ETR sim thing. That's the one complaint I'll have for the solver sim is like, just fucking give me a play action pool and a milli maker pool, please. So honest question, isn't it more risky to fade a 75% on a player? If he fails, you still live live with much of the other field. If you no. Justin, you play a lot of DFS. You should I'm not trying to be rude, but like, no, that's really not how to ever view DFS at all. You basically, you're looking at if you play a player in general, and obviously Saquon's projected so highly that the math's going to be different, but let's just talk in general about the concept of a 75% owned player. Like, it depends what's around them. Like, there isn't really a lot around Saquon and that price tag you would like. But really, when the field's playing 75% of a guy and you're with 25% of the field, your goal if Saquon fails or if he only puts up like 10 fantasy points and you could find 15 points from other guys, is you're getting then to only a quarter of the field left and you're just trying to beat those other 25% of lineups. So, like, that's everything in DFS. Like, that's really one of the, I mean, look, I get in concept, they probably don't talk about that much. But like your point of the stuff is like you want to get on smaller patches of the field, you win. That's why we talk about with the optimizer, like you strip away Kelsey, you strip away Saquon. Obviously, you don't want to do that because those guys are the best plays, but your willingness to do something that makes other people uncomfortable is what gives you a shot to win. Nerdy Tender talks about it a lot in the end game videos and stuff he does with Davis Maddock. I would say try to watch more of that, but like ownership is just like, imagine like Squid Game. Like, do you want to be in a group where it's like 100 people that then have to compete for one prize? You want to be in a group of 20 people that have to compete for one prize? You want to be the group of 20 people? It just becomes a balancing act between like, how much exposure you get to that stuff and how you handle it. But yeah, like 75% on guy, your natural instinct should always be to like, how do I fade this guy? It's not how do I play more of the guy. And I know Justin's asked questions before about stuff like this with like there's a Thanksgiving slate where I know Justin was like, I'm going to jam all the Bills in. And it was like, well, everybody's going to play a lot of Bills. So what is you jamming more Bills in? You don't always want to do more of the thing everybody's doing. You want to do usually less of the thing everybody's doing and try to find ways around that. So that's sort of the thing I would say here. Now, again, not trying to be rude, but like really like for you guys out there, you got to invest your time and knowledge growth into, the things that you're doing. I think in DFS, like that's learning ownership stuff is really the biggest part though. And it's tough. I get it. Like you always want to play the best plays, but being comfortable not playing the best plays is a big part of it. Highest projected team rarely wins. That's true. That's true. Then the commenter has a point, rather fade a 30% to 40% player than the 70% RB. No, that's just not true. Again, like it's still relative to like your tolerance level, but like a true risk tolerant player, again, hop into a chat with like Brick and Nerdy. If you pay for Endgame, ask those guys in the Discord. I think they would tell you that in general, like when you see that, your goal is to try to shave away and try to find unique combos around it. At a certain point, you're losing projection too much. So like if you can't get a lineup that's within, let's say 10% of a Saquon lineup, then yeah, you're going the wrong way. But if you still find top projected lineups and you can without that guy, it's one of those things where you want to find other ways to get to a projection that's close enough and can theoretically have enough variance to leapfrog those lineups. So that's sort of what I would say in general, but it's like a different thing with Saquon because he is, how many points higher than we say? He's double the points of the next RB. So that's a bit of a different, calculation there than usual. But fundamentally for DFS, you're just trying to get to a point where you're at smaller patches of the field and you have to compete against them. All right, there we go. I'm glad it wasn't rude. It's a fair question, I guess. But I would say the main thing, and it's honestly been a big part of some of the growth I feel like I've had as a player, which maybe is in line with some of what you guys might feel out there, is, and I've heard Ship My Money talk about this actually in the Endgame Syndicate Roundtable they did the other week, or it might have been this week actually. Like at a certain point as a player, you just realize I just want to play the highest projected lineups to some extent. But it's like you want to play the most unique, highly projected lineups that are still within some range of the top ones. Because now the field is like gets too cute sometimes, and the sims allow them to play less of certain players in a more intelligent way. But ultimately, like as long as you could find lineups that are within that 10% of whatever the optimal is, so we could find lineups that are within 10% of 129.11 score here. You just want to play any of them you can without Saquon at that point because they still project well and they don't have the guy that everybody's going to play. And the same for Travis Kelce too, because he's own enough. Like, it doesn't even have to be just a Saquon thing. It could be those two guys on this slate. It's also the idea of I'll play the 75% guy, but get weird enough everywhere else. Feel strongly about the chalky guy. Yes. But the thing too is like you have to get weirder in a way where you're actually getting weird, not something you just think is weird, but in reality, other people are doing it. Like that's where the overstacking a team, like that's what everybody always does. And that's also what Sims naturally do. So when you think that's your way of getting weird, it's like, no, playing more Chiefs won't get you weird because the Sims are going to say, hey, play some more Chiefs. See how that works. So like that's what I would warn against. But it's a really nuanced conversation that I'm probably not even the best person to give, but hopefully that explains at least from how I view it. Anyway, your top lineups right now, as of Friday, of course, we'll do another run through this on Sunday. We got Patrick Mahomes, Saquon Barkley. So even though Mahomes is like clearly cash game level chalk, he's still coming up in the top ROI lineup for ETR. Saquon, James Cook, AJ Brown, Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, Travis Kelce, Dawson Knox, Eagles D. Number 2, we have Josh Allen, Saquon Barkley, Kareem Hunt, AJ Brown, Mac Hollins here. So that is your way. Though honestly, the Josh Allen stacking seems like it's going to be a little bit less owned based on the projection sets we've seen so far. But Mac Hollins at 1%, that is a really low-owned guy here that can hit an Allen stack. And that's exactly what we talked about with Allen, where you play Shakir and Kincaid, you're not fooling anybody. You play Mac Hollins, you're not hitting very often. When you do hit, you're going to probably win more money. Xavier Worthy, Dalton Kincaid, Travis Kelce, Eagles. So really getting that base of projection here, which I think maybe speaking to the point of what we talked about. Josh Allen again at number 3, Saquon, Pacheco, AJ Brown, Khalil Shakir, Hollywood Brown, Dawson Knox, Travis Kelce, Eagles. Okay. Number 4, another Mahomes team. Mahomes, Saquon, Bijan Robinson, AJ Brown, Terry McLaurin, Hollywood Brown, Kelce, Gray, Chiefs. So again, the sim is trying to solve it in a way like a person would, where they would go, oh, there's a big Chiefs stack. Well, what if I try a different big Chiefs stack? That's what the sim tries to do anyway. So they're jamming in Noah Gray with Kelce as a way to get unique, getting Hollywood Brown as leverage against Worthy. That's sort of how they're approaching it. They can play the Chiefs run game here. It's going to be tough to project, but you get a lot of leverage against the pass game. Number 5, you have Hurts, Saquon Barkley, Ryan Robinson Jr. Are you just in here to be a dick, dude? I fucked up. I apologize. I still don't give a shit. This guy's made 3 troll chats in a row. Bad vibes from you. Beat it. We got Devontae Smith, Diami Brown, Xavier Worthy. Come back in 5 minutes with a better attitude. Dallas Goedert, Travis Kelce, Chiefs D. Jaden Daniels team here at number 6. Jaden, Saquon, Kareem Hunt, Diami Brown, AJ Brown, Hollywood Brown, Zach Ertz, Travis Kelce, Chiefs. It's crazy too. Like, yeah, I'm sometimes going to make a word slip when I'm reading a list of names aloud in a video in which I'm the only person talking for an hour straight. He was just like, it was just 3 chats that had a vibe to him. I have like, as Adam knows better than anybody, you give off bad vibes in the chat. I've done this long enough. I could tell you're probably somebody I don't like very much. That guy was giving me vibes. I don't like you very much. But maybe he'll win me over the course of time, much like Adam has. Anyway, not a lot of Jaden up top. You can see here, shitload of Mahomes, good amount of Josh Allen, good amount of Hurts. Jaden's not coming up the sim. You know what that means. Play a lot of Jaden. Like Worthy a lot this weekend. Think he'll get free a few times. You're sure? Got to keep in mind, though, ETR users at the very least are going to be thinking that exact outcome based on the projection set they have. In terms of your top ROI players right now, Dawson Knox, technically the highest ROI at 50%. Only in 9% of the lineups here, but coming up a little bit more. Mac Hollins, 45%. That is a lot of ROI for him. We saw him in the top lineup. I would guess that when he does hit, he wins you all the money, but he probably doesn't hit very frequently. Olamide Zaccheaus is in 10% of these lineups. He's got a 25% ROI in him. You are getting leverage on Diami Brown. I would say the Diami Brown performance this so far in the playoffs feels a little bit fragile to me, just with how this kind of the opportunity as wide receiver 2 is really ping-ponged around. And really, it's Zach Ertz who's the wide receiver 2 for Washington, but that's that. Noah Gray here, 25% ROI for him. So you are getting your Kelce leverage. Really don't think he hits that often, but he's at 16% of these lineups to 25% ROI. So that seems noteworthy. What are the worst lineups here? No, we'll see what Stochastic has. We'll call it a video. Good vibes only. I agree. Look, for me, I'm a delicate non-genius here doing this content where it make me feel uncomfortable. I don't need you. Josh Allen, Saquon Barkley. If our regulars make you feel uncomfortable, that's fine. But if you're just strolling in and you're fucking dominating chats, you've never been here before, Who needs it? Josh Allen, Saquon Barkley, Samaje Perine. So Perine not the play here. Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman, Xavier Worthy, Travis Kelce. What defense? Hollywood Brown, Eagles D. Okay. Mahomes again. So Perine is just basically saying don't play Perine. Don't play Gainwell. Is like at least these negative ROI lineups down here. Not love for Pacheco and Hunt, at the very least in a Cook lineup. So no, not both RBs from that game. What I'm curious to see is, you know what? Here, let's try something a little bit different than we usually do here, and we'll get to Stochastic in a moment. Let's see what we get without Saquon. Keep variance on. The player's 95% owned. You don't think there's a 95% chance of them hitting, that it's not optimal. That's a good way to, yeah. You know what? That's the old rule of thumb, and I probably would have been a shorter way for me to explain how I was viewing it. That is generally the thing is like, what do you think the probability of somebody hitting? You should play that. That should be the ownership. That's generally always been the DFS player rule of thumb. Look, I think Saquon practically, it feels like he's got a 95% chance of hitting, but you know, like in reality, even if he's 85% owned, I don't know that he's 85% likely to make it, but you know, that's what the Sims are for. And the last topic in GPP, then, do you take the early chalk and scroll down later? I don't think of slates that way. I know for NBA, there are sharp people, including the aforementioned Ship My Money, who will weight their projections for later games a little bit higher. So that way you have late swappability. If that's kind of a similar thing to do. But I play whoever's the best plays, and you know, it sounds stupid, but like I play whoever I think is the best lineups, whatever, independent of it. Especially in NFL, where like, you know, swappability doesn't matter that much. For NBA, it matters a lot more because you might have guys that, you know, get ruled out later, value that opens up, things like that. All right, so we talked about the projection set before. So your cash game lineup was 130. We're giving away less than 10% for a non-Barkley lineup here. And let's just sim these two. Why not? Let's see what the best non-Barkley lineups are. And again, I would consider doing this process again for lineups without Kelce as well. Like, I think it's a good way to look at it. Not a lot of positive ROIs. Have to say that up top. But you get, I don't know, I'm not going to select these. We got Jalen Hurts, Brian Robinson Jr., Isaiah Pacheco, A.J. Brown, Terry McLaurin, Xavier Worthy, Dallas Goedert, Travis Kelce, Chiefs D. So you're still getting the Chiefs stack here, but headless without Mahomes. You're getting A.J. Brown and Dallas Goedert, a double stack to pull away from Saquon. Yeah, I see the logic in that one. Hurts, Brian Robinson, Kareem, not Bijan Robinson. That one guy couldn't handle it. Kareem Hunt, A.J. Brown, Terry McLaurin, Xavier Worthy, Zach Ertz, Travis Kelce, Chiefs D. We got Jaden here with Eckler, Kareem Hunt, McLaurin, A.J. Brown, Xavier Worthy, Travis Kelce, Hollywood Brown, Chiefs D. I mean, these are still playable lineups. They're still within the projection range for the most part. I admit, like, we're getting down a little bit lower than we probably want to be projection-wise. But, like, what if Saquon fucking hurts his ankle? Like, there's still enough outcomes where he doesn't make it. Even if he plays well, like, even if he could play well or whatever, is guaranteed to play well. I think it's your job to play some lineups that don't have Saquon, and here are some of them that have it. You're getting a lot more Hurts than Jaden, I guess, would be an observation. It seems like the lack of Barkley is making the sim, and I do believe ETR uses a play-by-play sim. The lack of Barkley is making that go like, oh, this game is shooting out. So that's kind of interesting to note here, where basically the fail outcome for Saquon is just that the pass game went too nuts and that he didn't get there as a result. Definitely be quote-unquote fading Barkley this weekend. 50% sounds like plenty to me. Yeah, look, I'd even say 75%, but like you owe it to yourself and just what being a GP player is to leave 25% for something else. Because I think, you know, and again, I think we'll see too, especially like some of the casuals, like watch other chats out there. You're going to see people that are like, I'm just going to lock Saquon and figure it out. It's like, yeah, that's an approach. But like your goal is to capture when that doesn't happen, when Saquon doesn't hit, you'll win so much more money. And, you know, like it's worth losing that money on lineups just to have a shot at winning the money if somehow the one baseline expectation everybody's going to have making a lineup this weekend, including me looking at the data, like I would play Saquon first. So if that's the logic, what makes you uncomfortable right away? Not playing Saquon. So just don't play Saquon in 20 max. Don't play him in 5 lineups. You really want to be a bitch about it? Don't play him in 2 lineups, but you owe it to yourself for just how DFS works to not just cram him in everywhere. Would be my thought. But you know, the alternate side of that, if you want to play devil's advocate, would be that, you know, if you grab as many lineups as possible, especially like a 20 max with a player, and you're just like, hey, this guy is like the guy, I can't imagine him possibly not winning a tournament today. Like, then you play more lineups than other people with the player, but like you're getting a little bit of EV on that. But God forbid those extra lineups you have are ones that are just already duped or like kind of chalky or not that unique. Even though you thought you were getting unique, you really weren't, because you did something that people were doing naturally anyway. Like that might not even be as valuable. So that would be, I don't know. It's really like DFS is complicated. So, like, I think the main thing here, and I try to simplify as much as possible both for myself and when talking about it for you guys. But like, there's a lot of nuance to every DFS slate, and I'm curious to see what the sim gives us, because Stochastic thinks that Saquon Barkley's in 98% of the lineups, which practically is not really the case. ETR thought he was in 3/4 of them. It's like, do we get less Saquon now naturally from Stochastic? Is a question I'm going to be curious about here with these top ROI lineups. But anyway, guys, if you got value to this video, again, I'll plug and whore a little bit more. Please subscribe, like button, comment, all that stuff after the fact. It does go a long way here. Check out Stochastic, the tool you're going to see on screen here. 15% off, link in the description, and unabated $30 off, link in the description too. Great betting tools and NBA DFS projections that are not used by enough of the field is what you're getting with unabated every day. And the solver, which you just saw on screen, get nothing off, but get a great tool for yourself for the home stretch of NFL. All right. Oh, we're back. We're back in quoting Billy Ray Cyrus. Billy Ray Cyrus, whose children are mad at him, but there you go, BK. Just don't fucking shit on me. I fuck up, but this is what happens here. I fuck up reading a name sometimes. Don't be a dick. Give me good vibes, and your heart will be fixed. I'm always curious though to see whenever people get the 5-minute timeout. Sometimes they lash out again after the 5-minute timeout. Sometimes they're just like, all right. I touched the third rail. Now I come back. So we'll see which way we go here. But Billy Ray Cyrus needs to be a better dad, is what his son Trace Cyrus said. All right, top lineups here. So again, Stochastic thinks Barkley is going to be owned by 97% of the field. So you know what? Even before we read the lineups here, I'm just curious. Getting under the field on Saquon by a little bit. You're getting 95% of your lineups to Saquon, your top 150 compared to 98%. So I think that says sort of the argument we're talking about here. I would guarantee you that for some people out there using Stochastic data, what they will do is they're going to knock the Saquon projection down. And honestly, let's do that too. Why not? We got time. We don't really have time because I've wasted too much time in this video, but we got time. We got Mahomes here, Saquon Barkley, James Cook, Xavier Worthy, Diami Brown, Hollywood Brown, Dallas Goedert, Travis Kelce, Eagles. Number 2, Mahomes again. Mahomes, so both sites loving Mahomes lineups. Mahomes, Saquon, Kareem Hunt, Khalil Shakir, Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, Dallas Goedert, Kelce, Bills. I feel like what you're getting that's unique with Stochastic compared to ETRs, you're getting Mahomes with an Oppo running back, Mahomes with the running back. Didn't seem like we were getting that with the ETR top lineups or the solver top lineups. Number 3, Jaden's here. Jaden Daniels, Saquon Barkley, Austin Eckler, A.J. Brown, Terry McLaurin, Diami Brown. You got the triple stack there with Saquon. Dallas Goedert, Dalton Kincaid, Bills. Number 4, you have Mahomes, Saquon, Hunt, Shakir, Worthy, Diami Brown, Kelce, Hollywood Brown, Eagles. Number 5, Mahomes again. So Mahomes in 4 out of the top 5. Mahomes, Saquon, James Cook, A.J. Brown, Diami Brown, Hollywood Brown. What can Brown do for you? Travis Kelce, Dalton Kincaid, Bills D. Too many guys named Brown on the slate, I'll tell you what. I should just say Brown and not say a first name. Okay, top exposures. Barkley, 95% compared to the field's expected 98. So they're technically fading him this much. That's the point. It's like you're not really fading Saquon. You're just trying to find some other good lineups. I think that's what the sim is saying here. Travis Kelce, you're getting more. 70% for the field. They say gets 77. So a big pro stand on Travis Kelce. Bills D, you're getting double the field in the Bills. Eagles do seem overowned to me. Here you're getting more Bills. Obviously, Bills versus Mahomes. You better be playing an upset outcome on that one because fucking Mahomes is going to come back like Michael Myers, even if you get a few sacks or a pick 6 on him. But Bills D here, and I don't think you will, but Bills D here, double the field's ownership in the Stochastic's top 150. Dalton Kincaid, 49% compared to 36. Shakir, 47 compared to 49. So a little bit of a soft fade there, basically with the field. Hollywood Brown going back his way over the field, 46% compared to 30. And Diami Brown, 43% compared to 34. Your highest leverage plays. My tummy is grumbling. I guess I'm hungry. I hope that didn't come through on mic, but if it did, that's my stomach going, please eat something. Hollywood Brown, highest leverage guy besides the Bills. Dallas Goedert, 15% leverage for him. Dalton Kincaid, 12%. Diami Brown, 8.5. Austin Eckler, 6. Kareem Hunt, 6 rounded up. Negative leverage. Saquon with that -3. Xavier Worthy, well under the field here for Stochastic. So seems like it's a solver / ETR, a little bit higher on Worthy. Stochastic a little bit lower. Brian Robinson, -10% leverage for him. You are barely playing Brian Robinson here. And he looks very low owned. I don't necessarily agree with that. If I'm in lineups, I'm not playing Jaden. I will take some shots on Brian Robinson. And lineups, I am playing Jaden. I'm going to take some shots on Brian Robinson. Chiefs D, -10% leverage. Commanders D, -10% leverage, rounded up. Hopkins, -8% leverage. Only 2% of your lineups have Hopkins. He's been ramped down a little bit here. Feels like he could still catch a touchdown for me, but it's tough. Keon Coleman, -8. Eagles, -7. Player ROIs, everybody's negative, but it's Bills, Kincaid, Hollywood Brown, Diami Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, Eckler, and Goddard as your top ROI players technically. Other QBs real fast. You saw enough Mahomes. What do your Allen lineups look like? Josh Allen, Saquon, James Cook. Allen with Cook, I don't really love. They don't seem to hit the same game ever. It could happen, but it seems a little bit unlikely to me. Devontae Smith, Khalil Shakir, Hollywood Brown, Dallas Goedert, Kincaid, Bills. The double stack with Allen, I guess the Cook part makes you more unique. Basically an ass-kicking build here for Buffalo, which I don't think happens no matter what. Allen, Saquon, Cook, Devontae, Khalil Shakir, Hollywood Brown, Zach Ertz, Kincaid, Eagles. Allen, Saquon, Cook, A.J. Brown, Diami Brown, Hollywood Brown, Dallas Goedert, Kincaid, Eagles. All right, those are your Allen lineups. We didn't see any Jalen Hurts ones. Let's see what we get for him. You got Hurts with Saquon. Man, it seems like Stochastic is not having you fade Saquon very much in their top ROI lineups at the very least. Hurts, Saquon, Eckler, A.J. Brown, Diami Brown, Hollywood Brown, Triple Brown again. Goddard, Travis Kelce, Eagles. Hurts, Saquon, Eckler, Brown, A.J. Brown, Devontae, Khalil Shakir, Dallas Goedert, Kincaid, Bills. Quadruple stack with Saquon. Oof. It's possible. I think you'd want to have McLaurin on that. Because, like, if the Eagles put up that many points, Commanders probably put up some. Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, Cook, McLaurin, Devontae Smith, Diami Brown, Dallas Goedert, Kincaid, Bills. If I'm playing Hurts, I'm playing A.J. Brown with him, I think, no matter what. Matchup's too good with the man defense splits. And last but not least, our sweet boy, Jaden Daniels. We saw one of these lineups here. Jaden with Saquon, Eckler, Brown, A.J. Brown, that is. Terry McLaurin, Diami Brown, Dallas Goedert, Kincaid, Bills. Number 2, Jaden Daniels with Saquon, Eckler, A.J. Brown, McLaurin, Diami Brown, Zach Ertz, Kincaid, Bills. Number 3, Jaden with Eckler, Pacheco, A.J. Brown, McLaurin, Diami Brown, Kelce, Shakir, Bills. I think I like that third one the most. This is a tough build. Real fast. Lineups without Saquon. Lineup does not contain Saquon. We are going to do the data video for premium members after this one, guys, so stay tuned and we'll redirect you after this video ends, but it's going to be a short one today because we only have 2 games, and I think we know the deal with these teams at this point. All right, so no Saquon. Still got a lot of lineups here. Still a lot with the positive ROI. Frankly, if you're doing the mini-max or something like that, I would play, if you're maxing out in a big tournament, I'd play every single one. I would play every single Stochastic positive ROI lineup without Saquon in it. I would also bump Saquon's projection down to 18, see what you get there where you have a day. Honestly, give him his prop line right now for yards is 128.5. Give him 12.8 rushing yards. Give him a touchdown on top of that. Give him 19, 20 fantasy points. See what you get because it might change the outcome quite a bit compared to 26.9 here. But anyway, the lineups here without Saquon. We got Jaden, Eckler, Pacheco, A.J. Brown, McLaurin, Diami Brown, Travis Kelce, Shakir, and Bills D. Still using all the salary here. You could certainly make a viable lineup here besides maybe Pacheco, who feels less viable lately. Hurts, James Cook, Kareem Hunt, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Khalil Shakir, Kelce, Kincaid, Eagles. And number 3, Josh Allen, James Cook, Kareem Hunt, A.J. Brown, Shakir, Hollywood Brown, Dallas Goedert, Kelce, and Bills. All right, so that's it. That's what it looks like to not play Saquon. Doesn't feel to me like you're getting enough leverage. Like this team you are, again, playing that Eagles passing game, the shootout for Eagles Commanders, your way you get the most leverage, I think, on Saquon. Gainwell, theoretically, I guess, but that's how I'd approach it. And for the one guy who asked, David, who's not probably watching anymore because we now did an entire slate that wasn't relevant, I guess, to the one thing you wanted to see. Let's see what we got for my big my Mitten team, not my big board team. Let me see, where the fuck is this shit on the Underdog site? That's the other big question. All right, Josab, here's what I have left in the Mitten 2 here for 50K, which I have no faith in, which is why I don't care that much about it. One observation is there's a lot of dead RBs in my pod, so that's a positive one. But it's a Jaden team. I built this on stream. I'm pretty sure about that. Jaden, I took both the top AFC or two of the top AFC RBs. I guess really all the top AFC RBs, theoretically. Henry, Cook, Pacheco here. So I was playing a Washington, KC / Buffalo / Baltimore, a Super Bowl. I have Zay Flowers as my top pick. That sucks. I really wish that were Travis Kelce right now. Khalil Shakir, he'll be good for this week. McLaurin, he'll be good for this week. Hopkins, not really in the rotation enough here. I wish Zay Flowers were Kelce, and I wish this were Bateman or something. That wouldn't have worked out playoff ADP-wise, but that's that. Zach Ertz, Olamide Zaccheaus, so I have Diami Brown leverage. It's not like a good team, but it is a Jaden team here, so that's why I don't care. If I get any money off of this, great. I think if I advance, I'll have profited on my entries. If not, I won't. But that's that. But David, this is just for you, buddy. So I appreciate you caring enough to ask. But this is my only team here. I did put in a lot of entries. I put in like 20 entries total, all in the various mittens. So I don't like playoff best ball. I've learned over 2 years, I don't enjoy the process, especially like when you hop right into the regular drafting process. And then also, like, I think for the most part, like this year is probably one where I should have done more entries because Jaden's in the conference championship. And like, that's how I would like to play. Playoff best ball is a wild card that makes a crazy Cinderella run and has a shot because your guys competing for the dupes. Like you see why the bye teams, like people were fighting over Lions and like, there's a lot of dead Gibbs teams in my pod in general. But yeah, this is my team. So you get what you get, but it's all for David here. Let it be said that I sometimes listen to people and care. But that's the slate, guys. I'll be back on Sunday. We'll do this run again here. Data's going to move around. I'm sure it'll look a little bit different. And I'll have some more nuance to my takes over the course of a weekend thinking about it. So come back on Sunday at 9 a.m. Show some love to the channel if you can, guys. Again, I do this work here. The YouTube itself doesn't pay a lot at this point. Everything else that I do around that helps out a lot more. So show some love if you can. Help me keep growing things. Subscribe down below. Hit the like button. Leave a comment. Underdog, $1,000 in bonus cash with promo code SPLASH. Promo code SPLASH is on everything here. And links are in the description for everything I talk about too. Stochastic 15% off, unabated $30 off with promo code SPLASH. Solver, link in the description. Members, I think we lost a few members, have a few more to add on, but here's some members. Got a bunch more. I have to update this more regularly, but it takes time that I just don't have right now. Gamble responsibly. It's always money time here. Follow me at Chris Spags. Follow the show at Splash Play Pod. Paying members, stay put. Premium stream coming up. Everybody else, I'll see you again on Sunday or 4 p.m. on the NBA channel today. Good luck. No matter what you're doing, play Saquon, fade Saquon. Life, yin, yang. That's all it is, guys. But I'll see you guys again soon. Enjoy your days. Good luck. Have a good weekend if I don't see you again. And bye-bye.